So they would be balancing the load of electricity that goes out to the substations, and then each generator had to balance the load using a synchroscope.
Right.
And it was incredibly manual, and they had to do it with the handles.
Really?
This room was once the high-tech heart of London. Right from this spot, a team of engineers controlled a fifth of the city's power, sending electricity everywhere from the local pubs to the Queen and Buckingham Palace for decades. It's stunning. Art Deco glamour was hidden from the world, a secret seen only by the workers who kept the lights on across the capital. Then, the switches were thrown for the last time, the humming stopped, and for over 30 years, it sat in silence and decay, a forgotten masterpiece. But now, after one of the most ambitious restoration projects you can imagine, these doors have finally opened. We're going inside control room of the incredibly preserved nerve center of Battersea Power Station to see how this icon of industry was brought back from the brink.
Amazing monument has always held a strange fascination for me. As a teenager, I'd pass by all the time on the train, and it already had iconic status because it featured on the cover of an album by the prog rock band Pink Floyd, except they had a floating inflatable pig above it.
So, to really get what makes this room so special, you first have to understand the titan it served, Battersea Power Station. When construction started on the banks of the Thames in 1929, this wasn't just another factory, it was a statement. It was designed by Sir Giles Gilbert Scott, the same guy responsible for Britain's famous red telephone box, and he imagined it as a true cathedral of power. The station was built in two halves. The first part, Battersea, went up between 1929 and the mid-1930s, and its heart was Control Room, which started managing the city's power grid in 1933. This was the golden age of electricity, a time of incredible optimism. And you can feel that in the design. This room wasn't just meant to be functional, it was built to be beautiful.
Ooh.
So it also powered Buckingham Palace and the Houses of Parliament.
And would there ever be like power shutdowns in London? Or?
Yeah, the power station never ever stopped working, and that's through World War II as well.
Wow.
So it was hit by bombs. There was one in this control room, but luckily it didn't go off. And the story is that the Luftwaffe and the British Air Force used the smoke from the chimneys as a signal, and this was a real landmark.
To inspire a little bit of all, the architects used only the best materials. The floors are gorgeous teak parquet that still gleams today. The walls are clad in cool, gray Italian marble with sharp accents of black Belgian marble. And if you look up, you'll see this magnificent gold-painted, coffered glass ceiling, which used to bathe all the control panels in a warm, majestic glow. This was Art Deco at its most confident. It was a space that knew it was important, and you really can't overstate that importance. At its peak, Battersea Power Station generated 20% of all the electricity London needed. It powered the Houses of Parliament, factories, and countless homes. The engineers in here were the guardians of modern London life, that complex maze of dials, switches, and synchroscopes lining the walls weren't just abstract instruments. They were direct links to the city. Some controls even had secret code names for London landmarks, a constant reminder of the huge responsibility held within these four walls. For half a century, Control Room was a hub of constant activity 24/7, humming machinery and focused minds. But the age of coal power was ending. The station was shut down in stages, and the final switch was flipped in 1983. And then there was just silence. For nearly 40 years, the power station stood empty, while those four iconic chimneys were still a landmark on the London skyline. The incredible interiors were left to the mercy of time and the weather. The building, once a symbol of progress, became a monument to industrial decay. It was a ruin, a beautiful one, but a ruin nonetheless. For decades, plan after plan to redevelop. It fell through. Thankfully, its architectural and historical value was recognized.
It's an unbelievable place. Pure science, having been at Bankside, which was the new power station part of it.
The building was granted Grade 2 listed status in 1980, and that was upgraded to the even more protective Grade 2 asterisk in 2007. This saved it from being demolished, but it didn't stop the slow decay. Inside control room, dust settled on the control panels, the marble walls grew dull, and the once gleaming machinery sat silent. The vibrant heart of London's power grid had flatlined, just a ghost of its former self, waiting for a purpose that, for a long time, it seemed might never come. The rebirth of Battersea Power Station is just an incredible transformation story. It was a massive undertaking, part of a £9 billion project to turn this derelict giant into a thriving new London neighborhood. And right at the heart of it all was the careful, loving restoration of control room, led by the architects at Wilkinsonair and working closely with Historic England.
Battersea Power Station for 6 years, from 1963 till 1970. I was an apprentice to start with in the instrument department, and then was a mechanic for a couple of years before I moved on to another power station in Kent.
The restoration team had a huge challenge on their hands. How do you bring a nearly 100-year-old control room back to life, keeping its unique character while making it safe and functional today? The answer was an amazing mix of old-school craftsmanship and brand-new technology. They obsessed over every single detail. The team wanted it to feel like the original engineers had just stepped out for a cup of tea to get it right. They used advanced digital scanners on tiny remaining flecks of paint to replicate the exact 1930s colors. When original dials, knobs, and buttons were missing or broken, they were painstakingly recreated using 3D printing. The original switchboards, which run into long banks down the room, were carefully cleaned and brought back to life. Every piece of machinery, every dial, every switch was treated like a crucial part of the room's story. It was a slow, deliberate labor of love that took years, all to honor the room's Art Deco soul while seamlessly adding modern needs like new lighting and safety systems. For the first time since 1983, light, life, and purpose were being breathed back into this extraordinary space. Stepping into the restored control room today feels like walking through a time portal. You come in through the old director's entrance, with its grand bronze doors showing figures of energy, a perfect introduction to what's inside. The first thing that hits you is just how theatrical the space is. It doesn't feel like part of a power station. It feels like a set from a classic movie, which it has been most famously in The King's Speech. The room gives you this stunning panoramic view of Turbine Hall, the gigantic space where the electricity was actually made. This visual link between the nerve center and the powerhouse is a key part of the design. The two spaces are talking to each other, telling the complete story of how it all worked. Your eyes are immediately pulled to the main control panel, a sweeping curve of stainless steel and black bakelite that dominates the room. It's a masterpiece of industrial design. Even though it's not live anymore, it still hums with a kind of latent energy. You can almost hear the buzz and the focused chatter of the engineers. The synchroscopes, those big dials that help match the electrical frequency to the grid, are especially impressive. They're silent now, but still powerful symbols of what this room used to do. Walking on the polished teak floors, you can get right up close to the restored switchboards. You can see the small labels, the complex wiring, the heavy-duty switches built to handle incredible power. It's a real, tangible connection to the past and a reminder of the human ingenuity that powered a city.
I'm just highly delighted that something that was iconic when it was built.
But the room isn't just a museum piece. It has been brilliantly adapted for a new life. It now features state-of-the-art lighting that can Wash the room in a whole spectrum of colors, changing the mood from a serious, historic space to a vibrant, celebratory one, with room for over 200 guests.
And it was iconic. If something was a second only to St Paul's Cathedral, it's iconic, and that really sums it up. And I'm glad that that is being preserved and long may it last.
It's now one of the most unique event spaces in the world, hosting everything from fashion shows and product launches to conferences and private parties. The restoration of Control Room is an incredible achievement, and now it's accessible to the public in a way it never was before, mostly through official guided tours that give you an exclusive look at this Art Deco gem. If you have any interest in London's history, architecture, or its industrial past, you absolutely have to see it. So, what do you think is the most impressive part of this whole thing? The insane attention to historical detail, or the vision to turn it into a modern public space? Let me know what you think down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this peek inside one of London's hidden treasures, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more stories about amazing architecture and forgotten places. Control Room is so much more than just a beautifully restored room. It's a living piece of history. For decades, it was the unseen, beating heart of London. Now, it stands as a testament to the vision of its creators and the incredible dedication of those who brought IT back to life. The entire Battersea Power Station site is a symbol of London's own story of evolution, a place where the industrial past and the vibrant present live side by side. Alongside the shops, restaurants, and apartments, you can now ride Lift 109 to the top of a chimney for breathtaking views, or even visit Control Room B, the 1950s version of this room, which has been turned into a very cool cocktail bar. The transformation of Battersea Power Station from a derelict ruin into a place buzzing with people is a powerful reminder of why we need to preserve these places. It proves that our industrial heritage doesn't have to be lost. With a bit of vision and care, these cathedrals of industry can get a new lease on life, ready to inspire a whole new generation. Control Room might not be powering London with electricity anymore, but it's now powering it with something just as vital, a connection to its own incredible story.
Welcome to Future Forward, where innovation and dreams are powered, where dreams take flight and visions grow, a world of wonders yet to show. Innovation sparks the way, shaping tomorrow, starting today. From AI minds to stars so bright, we chase the future, bathed in